Today we will read a story about Dandelion Wishes, but before that, let's get familiar with some words first. Muddy. When it rains, water mixes with dirt and turns into mud. Sometimes mud is slippery. Soil. The dirt that plants grow in is called soil. In this picture, the arrow is pointing to the soil. Join. The boy is running to join his team. The boy with the blonde hair want to join the team. Here's another way to think about the word join. If you bring together two pieces of a puzzle, you join the pieces. Ring. The four children are holding hands to form a ring, a circle that you make by holding hands. Sometimes a word means more than one thing. The word ring also means a piece of jewelry in the shape of a circle that you can wear on your finger. Slip. When you slip, your feet slide, and sometimes you fall down. Stare. A boy and a gorilla looking at each other hard, without even looking away for a minute. When you look at something that way, you stare at it. Row. Bowling pins are lined up in a row. The flowers in the story were planted in rows too. It also means to move a boat in the water using oars. Dew is small drops of water that form overnight during warm weather. Strong. When someone can lift something heavy like weights, we say that person is strong. Fluffy. Fluffy means soft and puffy. The dogs in this picture are different. One dog is fluffy and one isn't. Okay, next, let's move to today's story. Dandelion Wishes. It was their first morning in the new house. David and Caroline ran out to the backyard. Mom followed behind, walking carefully. It had been a really rainy spring, and the backyard was muddy. "Just look at this garden," said Mom, smiling. "There are rows of daffodils and tulips coming up, and the peonies are gorgeous. Even the dandelions look pretty." The garden was the reason Mom had wanted to buy this house. The dew glistened on the leaves and flowers. The soil was rich and brown and good for growing plants. "But Mom, look at all these holes in the ground. Is that good for the soil?" asked Caroline. Caroline liked helping her mother in the garden, so she knew about things like soil. "Those holes were made by ants and worms," said Mom. "They help water and air get to the roots of the plants, even weeds." "Did you know dandelions are weeds?" "But they look like flowers," said David. "They do," said Mom. "When the yellow part is gone, I love to blow away the fluffy white part and make a wish." "I wish the yellow part was gone now, so I could make a wish," said Caroline. "What would you wish for?" asked Mom. "I'd wish for some friends in the neighborhood," Caroline said. Caroline's mom gave her a hug and said, "I'd make just the same wish, honey." "Well, I'm going inside to start unpacking. Try not to get too muddy." Neither Caroline nor David nor their mother saw the boy staring out of the window next door, but Jordan was watching everything. He had been wondering for weeks about who his new neighbors were going to be. "It's a boy and a girl," he said to himself, "just like Tiana and me." Jordan yelled, "Tiana, come here and see the new neighbors." Tiana had been really curious too. She ran into Jordan's room to join him at the window. They both watched their new neighbors walk around the muddy yard. Oh, they're going toward the super muddy spot," said Jordan. "We'd better go warn them." By then, Caroline had sunk up to her ankles in mud. She tried to pull her feet out of the mud, but she slipped and, oops, she landed smack on the seat of her pants. David took her by the hands to pull her up, but as he pulled, David slipped in the mud, lost his balance, and landed next to his sister. "Let's go help them," said Jordan. "Good idea," said Tiana. "I'm sure we're strong enough to pull them out." So the two of them ran outside to see what they could do. "Hi," Tiana shouted to Caroline and David. "I'm Tiana, and this is my brother, Jordan. We live right next door, and we want to help you get out of this mud." Tiana gave Caroline her left hand, and Jordan took her right. Jordan took David's hand too. The four of them formed a ring. Jordan and Tiana pulled and pulled, but oops, they slipped into the mud too. At first, all four children just stared at each other in surprise, but then they laughed and laughed. What a messy, dirty, funny way to meet the new neighbors. Mom heard the noise and looked out the window. When she saw the 4 children laughing and having fun, she smiled. Caroline hadn't found a fluffy dandelion to wish on, but it seemed like her wish for new friends was coming true anyway. But Mom wasn't the only one looking out the window. Maggie, the girl who lived on the other side of Caroline and David's new house, was watching too, and wondering about these new neighbors of hers. The end.